If you pay attention to the media, you have probably heard them talk about a drop in homeowner equity. And what's important to understand is that home equity is closely tied to home values. So when home prices appreciate, you can expect your equity to grow. And when home prices decline, then obviously your equity does too. Here's how this has played out recently. Home prices rose rapidly during those unicorn years in real estate, 2021, 2022. So that gave homeowners a considerable equity boost. But those unicorn years couldn't last forever, and so the market had to moderate at some point. That's what we saw the second half of 2022. As home prices dropped slightly in the last half of 2022, equity was impacted. So based on the most recent report from CoreLogic, there was a 0.7% dip in homeowner equity over the last year. 0.7%. So that's really pretty negligible in the scope of life. The headlines report a whole different picture than that. They act like you've lost 50% of the equity in your house, when in truth, you've lost less than 1%. So the reality is, while home price depreciation during the second half of last year caused equity to drop, the data shows that homeowners still have near record amounts of equity. So the graph you're going to see helps to illustrate this point by looking at the total amount of tappable equity in this country going all the way back to 2005. Tappable equity is the amount of equity available for homeowners to access before hitting a maximum 8% loan to value. So as the table shows, there was a significant equity boost during the unicorn years as home prices appreciated rapidly. But here's what's important to realize. Even though there's been a small dip, total homeowner equity is still much higher than it was before the unicorn years. The average U.S. homeowner now has more than $274,000 in equity, which is up significantly from the $182,000 before the pandemic. While homeowners in some areas of the country who bought a property last spring have no equity as a result of price losses, forecasted home appreciation over the next year should help many borrowers regain some of their lost equity. And even though the Deputy Chief Economist at First American references a slightly different number, Odita Kushi further validates the fact that homeowners have a lot of equity right now. Homeowners today have an average of $302,000 in equity in their homes, according to him. That means if you've owned a home for the past few years, you likely still have way more equity than you did before the pandemic. And if you've owned your home for a year or less, the forecast for a more typical price appreciation over the next year should mean your equity is on the way back up. Context is everything when you're looking at headlines or listening to the headlines. And while homeowner equity dropped some from last year, it is still at near all-time highs. Let's talk so that we can get you the answers you deserve from a local expert who's here to help you.